The courtroom is charged, nearly vibrating with tension. The air is heavy, like a storm about to burst, and seated at the center of it all is Kody Brown, his face ashen, his hands shaking ever so slightly, as if he is clinging to control through sheer determination alone. In the back of the room, Robyn sits with eyes flashing, with a combination of fear and calculation, while Meri, Janelle, and Christine sit in the gallery, their faces keen, almost feral. No one says anything, but the silence is oppressive. Everybody is here for the same reason. A $10 million fraud, a bogus company, and a lifetime of secrets about to unravel. You won't believe what's going to be revealed. How Kody and Robyn supposedly spun a conspiracy of lies that would ruin the family forever. Stick with me, because every sentence, every look, every secret document counts, and by the end of it, you'll be doubting all you ever thought you knew about this family. The judge enters, and the gavel comes down on the bench with a slam that resounds throughout the courtroom. The hearing starts, but this is more than another hearing. This is the time when decades of trust, loyalty, and unspoken deceit come face to face. The first witness is called a secret accountant who worked on Kody and Robyn's business, testifying that the books weren't only falsified, but manipulated to conceal huge amounts. The camera pans across the wives' faces. Meri's jaw tightens. Christine leans forward, and Janelle grips the railing, her knuckles white. Robyn shifts uncomfortably, glancing at Kody as if searching for reassurance. Could the man they trusted for decades really be the architect of a $10 million lie? Keep watching, because the next revelation will shock you. The story doesn't begin in the courtroom, though. It began months prior, behind doors closed, and in hushed phone calls and whispered words. Kody and Robyn had sold their firm as a legitimate real estate investment, with returns that sounded too good to be true. The family invested for years, and outsiders were led to believe in the business, but there wasn't anyone entirely sure. In some backroom, Meri began to see discrepancies, receipts that didn't balance, missing contracts, and Robyn's strangely secretive phone calls. Initially, she dismissed it, thinking to herself that Kody was simply doing business his own way, but the discomfort did not subside. Late at night, Meri sat in her bedroom alone, poring over documents she had secretly gathered. The figures didn't add up. Each spreadsheet she examined presented a company that actually existed on paper, but didn't have much to offer in the real world. And when she compared bank accounts to what Kody and Robyn reported, a chill ran down her spine. Something was seriously amiss, and it was much larger than she could imagine. While that was going on, Christine had been observing Robyn's tightening grip on family finances. Subtle, seemingly harmless choices, a switch in accounting software, sole access to particular accounts, suddenly became menacing in their implications. She spoke with Janelle, who had attempted to remain impartial, but even she had noticed the telltale signs: high-ticket vacations not accounted for, investments never vetted by anyone, and clandestine meetings that no one else was invited to. The wives began whispering, exchanging fragments of a puzzle that none of them wished to completely acknowledge. The dawning realization: they were all possibly being played. And when they thought they had all the pieces together, the bombshell landed: an email that would upend everything. It was that email that ultimately brought about action. The subject line was just audit findings, urgent. The body was filled with scanned documents, showing that Kody and Robyn had funneled millions into secret accounts, through shell companies, and concealed the paper trail with doctored invoices. For an instant, Meri couldn't catch her breath. She was transfixed by the screen, her brain whirling. How long had it been going on? How much was taken? And the hardest question of all, how did Kody, the husband she had married, betray the family in such a deliberate manner? By the time the trial resumes, tensions have reached a boiling point. The prosecutor presents the case in a systematic manner: phony contracts, bogus profits, money transferred into hidden accounts, and deceptions perpetrated against the wives in the name of business strategy. Each accusation is followed by evidence, each piece more incriminating than the previous. Robyn's eyes dart back and forth nervously. Kody fists his hands under the table. The wives watch in the gallery, a swirl of anger, sadness, and disbelief etched on their faces. The courtroom is not the only location where this tale is acted out. In quiet moments behind closed doors, alliances are made and broken. Janelle, who is normally the mediator, starts to plot with Christine. Meri, still reeling from betrayal, sits down to plan with Robyn directly. The energy outside the courtroom is as charged as it is within. Camera flashes, hushed questions from the press, and the constant buzz of expectation. Everyone is waiting for the moment that will finally tell the truth. With each testimony, the tension builds. Former employees and contractors take turns telling of the discrepancies they observed, how they were bullied into signing something they had not read, and how money appeared to disappear without cause. The story is plain. Kody and Robyn had constructed a tightly woven deception, and with each new piece of testimony, the wives' faces change, reflecting the combination of hurt, shock, and growing resolve. With every new revelation, one question lingers over the room. Can Kody and Robyn outrun accountability, or has their carefully crafted empire finally collapsed? The first part ends in a cliffhanger. A manila envelope is entered into the courtroom. The judge opens it and starts to scan its contents, the camera catching every flicker of recognition on Kody's face. His confidence, so evident at the beginning, is crumbling. Robyn's calm veneer breaks a little as she leans forward, wide-eyed. The wives share a look that says everything. The reckoning has come and there's no going back. The tension is oppressive, and the room seems to be holding its breath, waiting. The judge's eyes scan the room, his eyes making a sweep of the courtroom as he speaks. This changes everything, he says, giving the words time to register. Kody is swallowing hard, and Robyn will not meet the eye of the women she manipulated. Outside, the media firestorm erupts, but inside, the most explosive disclosures are just beginning. The courtroom door swings open, and all eyes track Kody as he enters, accompanied by Robyn. Something is different though. There is heaviness in his step, delay in his movement, as if he senses the walls closing in. Outside, journalists mutter, documenting every last detail, and inside, the wives sit stiffly, their gazes fixed on the couple at the eye of the hurricane. The tension is charged, heavy enough to touch, nearly sound in the quiet before the first words. Tonight, the truth crashes down like a tidal wave. Millions of dollars, years of faith, and a family's allegiance all at stake. Kody and Robyn believed they could keep everything under wraps, but their deceptions one by one are collapsing, and the consequences will be apocalyptic. Hug close, because each secret exposed tonight alters everything. The day starts with a spark of energy as the prosecution produces its first witness, an insider accountant within the company. She approaches the stand, holding a folder full of papers. She stands firm but quivers with fear, as she sets out to recount the anomalies she found. Each figure she uncovers is like a gut punch. Secret transfers, forged invoices, funds diverted to accounts only Kody and Robyn were privy to. The wives share tight smiles, their eyes widening with shock and mounting rage. Christine leans forward, biting her lip, attempting to keep her cool, but her hand trembles slightly as she clutches the bench. Janelle's normally placid face is vanished. Knuckles are white, and the tension seems to vibrate her entire body. Meri, quiet until this moment, lets out a tiny gasp, her brain running through the years of budgeting that she'd blindly left to Kody and Robyn to handle. The shock registers with them all. This isn't only mismanagement, this is intentional deceit. And just as they think they are starting to get their heads round the extent of the treachery, another even nastier secret is disclosed, one that threatens to unravel everything they believe about their family. The action jumps back to private moments outside of court. Robyn is marching up and down in the corridor, white face and pinched features, talking quietly into her phone. Kody sits mutely in a corner, gazing at the floor, desperation seeping behind his initial confidence. The wives, divided from him by the glass partition of the courtroom, speak in hushed tones. They discuss the untraced millions, the secret accounts, and the intricately constructed thread of deceit built by Kody and Robyn with such meticulous care. With each new disclosure comes yet another thread of betrayal, and the emotional burden is close to oppressive. Back in court, the tension builds as a further witness comes forward, a previous business partner who had been suspicious for years but had no evidence. His evidence is terrifying. He talks of non-existent meetings, manipulated contracts, and Robyn demanding that certain papers are confidential from the remainder of the family. Each gesture creates a picture of deliberate deception, a scenario meticulously painted to appear authentic while concealing millions in holdings. The wives sit in stunned silence, each of them reliving moments from her life, now tainted by suspicion and despair. Was Robyn masterminding all of this from the beginning, with Kody as the oblivious patriarch? Or is there an even more scandalous truth to their alliance? Don't blink, because the next bombshell is dynamite. The drama builds as Meri is finally given permission to confront Robyn head-on. The two women stand face to face in the courtroom, tension hanging in the air for decades of unpaid bills and broken trust. Meri's voice trembles but is filled with a seething determination. How could you keep this from all of us, Robyn? Millions of dollars, years of trust, it's all gone because of you. Robyn's tears brim up, but there is a controlled restraint in her face. She begins to open her mouth to speak, and the room leans forward, each onlooker hanging on her words. I thought I was keeping the family safe. Robyn speaks softly, but the wives' expressions of distrust. Christine folds her arms, shaking her head, while Janelle's face grows rigid and Meri's expression turns cold. The air is charged, every word, every motion, every little sigh a thread in this tightly coiled web of tension. It's obvious that trust has been broken, and even the slightest movement within the courtroom feels explosive. The prosecution's legal team then produces the most incriminating evidence to date, a chain of in-house emails between Kody and Robyn, outlining the money laundering transfers and coded messages meant to conceal the money trail. The judge reads each page intently, every so often glancing up with a scrunched brow, his expression reflecting the seriousness of what he is reading. The wives observe every reaction, each of them comprehending the enormity of the fraud. Even the court stenographer freezes, momentarily stunned by the shock of the revelation. Outside the court, whispers spread among the press. They recognize they are witnessing the fall of an apparently above-reach empire. Within, the wives are already plotting. Christine advises amassing more financial documents. Janelle offers challenging former partners, and Meri quietly starts charting the timeline of all questionable choices. United in outrage and resolve, they find solidarity in one another's hurt, their common betrayal turning into collective power. As the session moves toward its end, the courtroom becomes ominously quiet. Kody fidgets in his seat, trying to compose himself once more, but his gaze betrays him. Robyn wraps her hands into fists, looking at him with a blend of guilt and obstinacy. The prosecution makes one final searing point for the day. A ledger documenting transfers worth more than $10 million, tracked directly to accounts held solely by Kody and Robyn. The wives sit forward in shock. The enormity of the deceit hit with the force of a wave, and the tension in the room seems almost overwhelming. The day concludes with the judge scheduling the next hearing, threatening more incendiary testimony and increased probing into the bogus company. As Kody and Robyn exit the courtroom, their faces go white. The wives share glances of vindication and determination. Outside, the media descend, but it is the silent, concerted planning and emotional processing between the wives that portends the true storm is only just starting. As the courtroom clears, Meri is holding up a small envelope she grabbed from Robyn's office earlier. Inside is one document, torn down the middle, with information that can totally flip the case and the dynamics of the family. The camera cuts to her face, a combination of fear, outrage, and determination. What in this envelope, and how will it upend the trial? The courtroom is a different place today, heavier as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. Kody stands at the defense table, eyes darting wildly, beads of sweat beginning to form on his forehead. Robyn grips a folder in her hand, her nails digging into the edges, her composure shaken. At the opposite end of the room, Meri, Christine, and Janelle sit in a row, a united front of anger and determination. They've had sleepless nights poring over papers, following the money trail, and getting ready for the most dynamite session so far. Today, secrets will be revealed that can tear apart the Brown family forever. This is the day the truth comes due. Any lie, any secret account, any hushed conversation between Kody and Robyn is going to be exposed. And when it lands, it will not just be about money at stake. It will be about trust, loyalty, and a family's very foundation. Stick with me, because what comes next will leave you gasping. The trial begins with a series of audio tapes, intercepted as part of a normal investigation. Kody's voice is unmistakable, relaxed but calculating, providing directions on transferring money, tampering with contracts, and hiding assets. Robyn's replies are cautious, her voice gentle but firm, showing her intelligence and active involvement. The wives hang on the edge of their seat, eyes wide open, hearts pounding. They've had their suspicions, but to hear it affirmed in their own voices shakes them to the very foundation. Christine grips the bench tightly, her knuckles white, as her mind replays moments that now carry a sinister weight. Janelle bites her lip, holding back tears, while Meri's hands tremble slightly as she scribbles notes, determined to remember every damning word. The evidence is methodical, almost clinical, and yet the emotional impact is devastating. With every testimony, the truth cannot be denied. Kody and Robyn's empire was not only imperfect, it was also crafted, and what follows is even more surprising. The next witness is a person who collaborated extensively with Kody and Robyn on their business opportunity. He comes forward cautious, with an observable fear in his demeanor, and starts divulging the company's inner working. He recounts gatherings in which Kody and Robyn made secrecy a demand, dismissed questions, and doctored the books to reflect profits that never materialized. Each point further implicates the prosecution's argument, and the wives' faces change from shock to outright anger. Meri's voice trembles when she finally speaks to the court. I trusted them. I trusted him. And now I see the betrayal in black and white. Millions of dollars concealed from all of us all these years. Her words linger in the air, biting and piercing, and the room is charged. The emotional charge is tangible, and even the judge inclines forward slightly, taking in the weight of her words. Robyn attempts to keep her cool, but the pressure of the testimony starts to get to her. She wrings her hands, not making eye contact with Meri, Christine, and Janelle. Kody is stiff in his seat, jaw clenched, eyes darting toward Robyn as if looking for direction or comfort. But the mask is breaking, and it is visible to all. And just when everything appears to have escalated to a level of outright deception, a surprise document turns up, one that has the potential to upend the trial entirely and leave both Kody and Robyn scrambling. The prosecution enters a ledger found in Robyn's own files, detailing transactions that had been carefully concealed. The transactions are coded, camouflaged as innocuous expenditure, yet anyone with an eye for finance can observe the pattern. Cash diverted to offshore accounts, bills drawn for services never provided, profits taken but never earned. The courtroom holds its collective breath as the magnitude is realized. The wives share frightening glances, shock yielding to increasing determination for justice. Janelle leans toward Christine and whispers, I knew something was off. But this is beyond anything I imagined. Christine nods silently, her face tight with resolve. Meri, meanwhile, is analyzing every line, every number, every inconsistency. She feels a strange mix of rage and empowerment. The betrayal is enormous, but now she has the evidence to fight back. The tension reaches a fever pitch when the defense tries to discredit the witness. Kody's attorney implies mistakes, and attempts to hint that the documents are forged. But the prosecution pushes back with clear, irrefutable evidence, timestamps, email threads, and several independent audits that all tell the same tale. Kody's confidence falters. Robyn's carefully instructed composure starts to crack. The wives can taste victory within their grasp, but they know the toughest times are ahead. Suddenly the doors to the courtroom burst open, and into the room comes an unexpected witness, a former insider who has stayed quiet for years, and their account is dynamite. They tell how Kody and Robyn openly urged employees to manipulate books, intimidated anyone who questioned, and methodically cooked the books to cover up their actions. Each sentence is a knife, deflating the story Kody and Robyn have attempted to tell. The wives sit forward, gripping the benches, faces pale, eyes wide. The betrayal is now undeniable, tangible, and all-consuming. As the courtroom absorbs the testimony, a secret emerges, one that could not only expose the fraud but completely upend the family dynamics and leave the Browns permanently fractured. In a private moment between sessions, the wives regroup in the hall. Meri's hands shake as we can't let this go. We have to see this through, for us and the kids. Christine nods firmly, her voice calm but sharp. We've been patient. We've tolerated the lies. Now it's time for accountability. Janelle adds, no more no more games. The truth comes first.
Their unity is palpable, a stark contrast to fear and desperation radiating from Kody and Robyn.
The second witness is a financial analyst who has been called by the prosecution to decipher the clandestine transactions. She gives the account, in layman's terms, of how the $10 million was transferred, camouflaged, and finally funneled into accounts accessed only by Kody and Robyn. The wives sit, appalled and riveted. As the narrative unfolds, each piece of evidence verifies what they suspected all along. The deception was intentional, carefully plotted, and meant to keep the family in the dark. Robyn then speaks, shaking. "We didn't believe it would be found out. I believed I could keep it going on. But it doesn't ring true." The wives' faces stiffen, the courtroom stirs, and even the judge's eyes widen with skepticism. The fissures in her account are irreparable. As Section 3 comes to an end, tension peaks. The final piece of evidence is presented to the judge, a detailed summary connecting Kody and Robyn to each suspicious transaction. The gavel is lifted, the courtroom waiting with bated breath, the sound of the family and their finances on the line. Outside, the press surround, catching every response. Inside, the wives share a look of silent understanding. The time of final showdown is near, and nothing shall be the same again. The judge leans forward over his spectacles, low but resolute voice. "There is one final piece of evidence that has the potential to change everything." Kody's Adam's apple bobs in a hard swallow. Robyn pales and the wives hunch forward, awaiting the bombshell that may finally expose the whole truth. The courtroom is charged, taut. All eyes are on the judge as he grips a sealed envelope, its contents only he knows. Kody squirms uncomfortably in his seat, looking over at Robyn, whose mask has only just cracked. On the far side of the room, Meri, Christine, and Janelle lean forward, tension etched on their faces. They had waited for weeks, assembling the evidence, tracing every lead, and now it was going to explode in the face of the court. What's inside this envelope could finally expose every secret, every lie, and every hidden account. Kody and Robyn thought they had protected themselves, but one discovery tonight could bring their empire crashing down. Stay close, because nothing in this case has prepared us for what happens next. The envelope is slowly, ritually opened, the judge's eyes scanning its contents. There are dozens of files, emails, and scanned pages, proof of every deal, every secret bank account, and every phony invoice. The room falls silent, the weight of the revelations bearing down like an approaching storm cloud. Even the court reporters hesitate, pens suspended, as the narrative starts to unfold. The prosecution starts laying out the documents, beginning with insider correspondence between Robyn and Kody. The messages, meticulously dated, show how the couple had planned the fraud over the years. They outline ways to hide transactions, how to manipulate staff reports, and how to make their business look legitimate while funneling millions into personal accounts. The wives' faces go white as they read excerpts shown on the courtroom monitor. Meri's eyes fill with tears as she whispers, "All this time, all these lies." Christine leans back, fists clenched, a mixture of anger and disbelief crossing her features. Janelle stares down at the notes in front of her, her mind racing, trying to make sense of every deceitful action. Kody's posture stiffens. Robyn fidgets, unable to maintain the calm she had feigned for so long. The emotional burden in the room is crushing. Every intake of breath nodded with expectation. And just when they were starting to see things clearly, this secret file is discovered, something no one predicted and might shift everything. The prosecution brings out a series of accounting spreadsheets, carefully tying Kody and Robyn to secret accounts. The figures are enormous, millions of dollars transferred, fabricated income, and hints of offshore activity. Every entry is a tale of deception, secrecy, and intentional misrepresentation. The wives sit forward, their fists clutching the benches as they take in the enormity of the fraud. Outside court, the tension is reflected in hushed gossip among the media and the spectators. All know that the stakes are huge, not only financially but emotionally and legally. Inside, the judge orders a recess, allowing everyone a brief time to digest the mounting revelation. Outside the hall, the wives congregate, their faces a combination of shock and grim resolve. Meri is the first to speak, her tone low but firm. "We can't let this slide. We need to ensure every aspect is brought to light. Christine's eyes harden with determination. Nodding, this is not just about the money. It's about accountability, about the exposure of lies. Janelle speaks softly too. We've waited long enough. Now it's time to fight back. Their solidarity is obvious, a power building with every revelation. Once the session picks up again, the tension is heightened. The prosecution brings out the most appalling evidence so far: an email from Robyn about how to conceal the $10 million swindle from the rest of the family. The language is unequivocal, deliberate, and damning. Robyn blanches as the room gasps collectively. Kody's jaw clenches, his fists gripping the edge of the table. The wives observe, their feelings a tangled blend of vindication, shock, and growing anger. Is this the last piece of the jigsaw? The proof that proves everything they dreaded and shows the extent of Kody and Robyn's deception. Stay tuned, for the next bombshell is explosive. The prosecution then presents a whistleblower, a person who had been so close to the couple, but had remained quiet in fear of reprisal. Their evidence is chilling. Kody and Robyn had been masterminding an elaborate plan, manipulating staff, forging documents, and concealing assets with precision so fine. Each word, each piece of detail adds gravitas to the prosecution's case, and the wives can feel the magnitude of the betrayal slam into them like a tidal wave. Robyn attempts to defend herself, her voice shaking. I didn't know it would go this far. I thought I could handle it. But her excuse rings hollow. The room sees through the cracks in her facade, the uncertainty in her speech, and the proof contradicting all her excuses. The wives glance at each other. Anger, incredulity, but with it a curious sense of empowerment. They've waited years for this day to break, and now the truth is finally emerging. The next shocker comes when the judge orders a forensic accountant to bring in an analysis of all the financial transactions. The courtroom is quiet as the expert goes through the numbers, making connections that even the wives had not entirely grasped. Secret accounts, phantom clients, and lost millions, all linked back to Kody and Robyn's own hand. The courtroom leans forward together, electricity sparking the air. Kody's face sets in anxiety. Robyn's hands shake faintly as she reorganizes her papers. And just as it seems the scam has been completely revealed, one final bomb is dropped. A piece of evidence that might entirely blow up Kody and Robyn's defense and leave the family changed forever. The proof is irrefutable. Emails, account books, testimony from witnesses, and forensic testing all converge to the same point. Kody and Robyn knowingly engineered the $10 million scam, exploiting confidence and concealing the truth from the family for years. The wives sit in stunned silence, taking in the magnitude of the betrayal, but also with a surge of resolve. Questioning, indecision, and doubt are no longer an option. The truth has arrived, and justice is at hand. As the session ends, the judge inclines forward, his eyes narrowing. The next hearing will tell us what comes next in this case. Prepare yourself. The revelations are by no means over. Kody and Robyn exit the courtroom, faces pale, shoulders slumped. The wives observe, a united determination in their eyes, aware that the last battle for justice is fast approaching. Outside court, Meri opens a secret folder she had clandestinely acquired weeks prior. There are emails and papers even the prosecution hadn't been able to find yet, evidence that would fully recast the case and expose the final betrayal. Her fingers shake as she looks over at Christine and Janelle. What is in that folder? And how will it forever alter the fate of the Browns? The courtroom is charged, a combination of expectation, rage, and incredulity heavy in the air. Kody and Robyn sit at the defense table, their earlier confidence now being replaced by evident tension. In the room, Meri, Christine, and Janelle sit together, their faces a combination of resolve and seething rage. Today marks the end of months of investigation, rumor, and clandestine documents. Today the truth will come crashing down and no one will be left untouched. Everything the Browns thought they knew is about to be shattered. Secrets will be revealed, alliances tested, and the fallout from a $10 million fraud will leave the family and the audience speechless. Stay with me, because what happens in the next hour will change everything forever. The judge brings the session to order, and the prosecution quickly proceeds to introduce the final most incriminating piece of evidence, the secret folder Meri had discovered weeks earlier. They include emails, internal memoranda, and financial reports that not only establish Kody and Robyn's involvement, but also detail an even more complex plan than anyone had ever thought possible. The wives are on the edge of their seats, hardly able to catch their breath as the information is read aloud. Every email reveals deliberate choices made to mislead not only the family, but also investors, employees, and even close friends. Kody's voice, smooth and soothing in previous recordings, now sounds empty and desperate. Robyn's cautiously built shields are destroyed in the face of the documents. The courtroom is primed to burst at any moment as every witness, every proof, and every concealed transaction is revealed, one after another. And just when it seems like the truth is at its maximum, there emerges a stunning revelation, one that no one in the room is anticipating, and it might alter the direction of the trial completely. The prosecution presents one last witness, an old company partner who'd remained silent for so many years. His testimony is explosive. He speaks of secret discussions with Kody and Robyn, schemes to launder money into shell accounts, methods employed to disguise financial statements to make them seem above board. The wives sit, mouths hanging open, as their worst fears are realized. This was not merely mismanagement. It was a specific engineered scam meant to conceal millions. Robyn tries to interrupt, her voice shaking. "I didn't think things would come this far. I was just following protocol." But the courtroom is filled with muttering, the judge scowling intensely. Kody sets his jaws, fingers quivering. The proof is conclusive, and all efforts at diversion only serve to underline their guilt. Christine shifts towards Janelle, her voice low. "I knew there was more. I just didn't know the extent of it." The eyes of Janelle are on Kody, flames burning beneath the surface of her gaze. Meri, the initial discoverer of the secret files, is relieved yet drained. Years of deception and distrust have culminated in this precise moment, and the emotional burden is nearly too much to bear. And just when the courtroom thought it had seen everything, a final email is presented, one that reveals a secret so explosive it could destroy Kody and Robyn's entire defense. The judge requests silence, as the prosecution reads one email, read by Robyn to Kody, which explained a scheme to cover traces, conceal transactions, and play on the family's trust. The words resonate in the air, suspended like a guillotine, deliberate, calculated, undeniable. The wives' faces change all at once, shock, outrage, and then empowerment. The betrayal is total, but so is the evidence that justice can be done. Outside, journalists whisper, the click and hum of cameras and microphones recording every response. Inside, the emotional peak is reached as the judge considers the evidence, brow furrowed, voice unyielding. The depth of this fraud cannot be exaggerated. All the evidence leads to a premeditated plan to defraud and manipulate. Kody and Robyn are immobilized, understanding breaking that there is no way out of responsibility. The prosecutor recapitulates the case with accuracy, linking the $10 million in secret accounts, bogus invoices, and emails straight to Kody and Robyn's scheme. The wives, seated together, experience a rush of vindication. Decades of suspicion, heartache, and hushed conjectures have been answered at last, and the courtroom is a setting for both justice and closure of the heart. The judge invites the defense to make their final statement. Kody's tone is low, borderline pleading. "We never meant," but the evidence is too great a mountain to climb. Robyn's hands shake as she continues. "We attempted to keep everything in line, to insulate the family, but the words ring false, overshadowed by the sheer weight of documentation of fraud." The wives observe, their faces a composite of sympathy and tough acquired determination. As the last words are spoken, there is one question that remains. Will Kody and Robyn reap the reward they deserve? Or will there be one more surprise waiting to amaze everyone in the room? The tension dissipates with the judge handing down a final decision on the floor. Kody and Robyn are held entirely responsible for the fraudulent firm. Decrees are handed down to retrieve the stolen money, and legal sanctions are spelled out. The courtroom breathes as one, a combination of relief, victory, and raw truth of justice being served. Outside, the wives step into the light, facing cameras, reporters, and questions. Meri speaks first, her voice calm but resolute.
This was about truth, about justice, and about protecting what's rightfully ours.
Christine nods, adding, "We've been through betrayal, manipulation, and lies. But today, the truth prevails." Janelle glances at her sisters in arms, her eyes fierce. "No one can underestimate what we've endured, or how far we'll go to fight for what's right." The tale ends not only with the judicial outcome, but also with the emotional cleanup. The family is divided, trust shattered, but the wives' strength and resilience prevail. Justice has been delivered, and the price of duplicity is now certain. As the crowd disperses, Meri turns to Christine and Janelle, clutching the final remaining secret document. "There's still one thing they didn't expect," she whispers. "What do you think it might reveal? And how far should you go to reveal the entire truth?" Share your thoughts in the comments. Would you confront deceit in this way?